fun. Okay, I have Annika with me. She is a early childhood teacher in the building that I work at Nashville in Rockford, Illinois, and I'm asking her some questions about her classroom library. Hi, Annika.
Hi.
All right, so the first question I have is just talking about the type of students that you have in your classroom, and I'm wondering what is the composition of your classroom, which means in terms of race, ethnicity, culture, like how many languages you have, just a guesstimate.
Okay. So I am an ESL teacher, and so in my classroom, I have students that hear many different languages at home. I have a class of 20 in the morning and then another class of 20 in the afternoon. And between those two classes combined, out of 40 kids, I have about 15 different languages represented. And that's including different dialects of different languages. And then special education as well, or just ESL?
Yeah,
Okay.
all of it.
So I also I have 5 students in my morning and 5 in my afternoon that have an individualized educational plan, an IEP, and I have a wide range of abilities as far and also age groups. I have kids ranging from ages 3 to 5.
Okay, great. And then what would you say for gender? Is it pretty equal?
It's pretty equal
between boy and girl? Okay. And then what about socioeconomic factors? Do you feel like there's a lot of
Yeah, I would say
difference?
it's mostly low income, a few middle income. I would say about 85 to 90% low income.
Okay. And then as far as developmental ranges, you already discussed that there's all different types of
Yeah,
development in your
they
class.
range in different developmental stages based on their developmental growth, but also based on their age.
Right. Okay. And then as far as your physical classroom library, which we all have that in our classrooms in this building,
Yeah.
would you say, what would you consider your philosophy toward your classroom library, like in general?
So I want the classroom library to be a fun place where the kids like to go and choose to go there independently during our work time. So I try to make it inviting and a wide variety of books. And also something very important is keeping it, rotating the books throughout the year often to keep it exciting and new. Also putting books in there that are fun, like a class book that they made, having different genres, nonfiction and fiction as well. They really do like looking at pictures of real insects and real animals. And in preschool, I try to do the books with more pictures because then they can tell their own story by using the pictures. Because I don't have any students that can read yet.
That's what I was just going to ask you if you had any students that read yet.
They make up their own stories.
Right.
So they, what I do is when I read a book to the class too, then I add that to the library. So then they go and they get the book and then they've memorized it from me reading it to them, or they remember it from me reading it to them. So then they can kind of retell the story that way. But also if it's a predictable book, then they kind of read it along that way as well.
Great. And then as far as the physical location of your library, where is it located in the room and why?
Okay, so that's a good question. I have it located in the quiet area of my classroom. I have my block area on one side of the classroom where they have blocks and cars and more of the louder areas of the classroom. But then I have over on the other side of the classroom my library, and then also the quiet area, the cozy area, and then an area where kids can go and lay down, or kids can go and be alone. And then I have puppets and other kind of quiet activities in that same area as well.
Nice.
So I do separate it from the louder areas. I have a couch for them to sit on if they would like to. Sometimes they lay down. They can get pillows and blankets that are also in that area and lay down and look at books. They also are allowed to take the books from the reading area and bring them around the classroom with them and read them anywhere they want in the classroom if that's what they choose to do.
Nice.
And then sometimes they like to go take the books from the reading library and go to the front of the classroom and pretend to be the teacher and read to other students as well.
Great. That's great. So you pretty much answered all my questions about that department. Well, as far as the environment, because you
Okay.
said that I was going to ask you what you had available, like chairs or pillows or whatever.
Yep.
And then I see there's some posters up.
Oh, environmental print
Yeah.
is very important.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's great. And then as far as the physical classroom library, I know we don't really use digital libraries in this building. We do have the smart board. If you were to access books online, what digital library would you use? Do you know of one?
In the past, I have used the smart board, and if I was doing a certain unit of study or I was reading a book to them in class and I wanted them to have a different experience of hearing somebody else read it, I have gone to YouTube and had where like some celebrities read books before, and then that's just kind of fun. I don't use that as my main. That's just an additional resource if I've already read the book to them and I want them to hear it again from somebody else, then that's just kind of something fun and special to do.
Definitely. And then how often would you say that your students within the both AM and PM classrooms use the library? I mean, do you see them using it often or sometimes?
Oh, they use it every day.
Okay.
And I would say from year to year that varies,
Right.
depending on the students and how interested in books they are, but also based on how often I change the books too.
Right.
That really is a key factor to keeping them interested and motivated to go to that area. Another thing that kind of motivates them to go to the area is when I go there and then I sit down and then they start grabbing books and they want me to read to them too, or they want to read with each other. It just builds excitement. Also, when making a plan for the day, I talk about where do you want to play, what do you want to do, and they will pick to go there because the picture is inviting and it looks like something they would like to do. But I would say they do go daily. It gets used.
Right.
It's something that some kids just absolutely love, and it's just part of their daily routine.
Right. And then I know we have the classroom library, but we also have the main school library.
Yes.
And it says on here, I'm just going to ask you, where do the students store the books that they check out from the library?
Okay, so when we go to the library, they are given a card, and then they are given access to go anywhere they want to in the library to pick a book. They're organized by theme. And so if they know what areas of the classroom they particularly like to go to, but they are welcome to go select from the entire library. They pick their book, they go, they check it out. The librarian beeps it, checks it out to them. They carry it down the hall, holding it and hugging it. And it's really nice to see how they respect their books. They come back to the classroom and they put it directly. Oh, I'm sorry, back up. While they're in the library, after they check it out, they're given the opportunity to sit on the carpet and look at it right away because they're excited about it. They want to look at it right away.
Right.
Then we come back to the classroom. I explain to them that they can put it in their backpack, take it home, and they can read it at home. And they can ask a grown-up to read to them. They can read it on their own. They can ask a sibling or anybody that is available to read to them. So they keep it in their backpack. And then they return it back to school the following week so they can check out a new one. I communicate with parents via Seesaw and let them know when the books are due to remind them. And also, some parents have chosen to have a special location in their house where they keep the library book so they don't lose it. Some parents have told me that they will lose it, and so they want it to stay in the backpack. And so they take it out, they read it with their child, and they put it back in the backpack, and they do that every night. And then I know to take it out then the next week when it's time for them to get a new book. But they communicate with me that they are using that system so they don't lose the book.
Right.
And that works well for them.
And as far as the classroom library, they don't take those books home, correct?
The books in our classroom libraries do stay here.
Okay.
If they ever wanted to borrow it, I would allow that. It just hasn't been necessary because we have access to the library and they're able to check out those books. So they're pretty satisfied with that.
Okay, great. And then I wasn't sure because this is early childhood, but I know, for instance, in my class, I do journaling about a certain book every week. Is that something that you do in here? Do you have them, draw or journal about books?
Yes, I absolutely do.
How often do you do that?
So I do that once a week.
Okay.
And it's a good way for them to connect with the book in a different way. And then also for them to show me what they learned about the book. And
do you highlight them? Like, do you show them to anybody, or do you keep them so the parents are able to see them, or how do you
let the kids take them home.
Okay.
But if I'm collecting data and I want to see growth from the beginning, middle, and end of the year, I will take pictures of them and still let them take it home because they are excited about it and they want to show their parents right away. So I take a picture, and so I have that to be able to show growth and to use that.
Okay, great. And one thing I forgot to ask you really quick is how often do you change the books out in your library?
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. Nice. Okay. Let me just make sure I've got everything. I think I do, because the rest of my interview is about digital library, which we don't have here. Let's see. How do you currently make use of your classroom library and literacy instruction? Do you ever use books from your library to teach?
Yes, I do. And then, so I do that 2 ways. I will take books from the library to read to them, but also if I borrow a book from the library as part of my lesson, then I add that book to the classroom library as well. And then also I think, like I mentioned before, about having classroom books that the kids make and adding that is also a way of utilizing literacy in my classroom library.
Right.
And then how I choose, how I select the books is important. Right. And just the fact that during work time, I will sit down in the library area, and if kids want me to, I will read to them during that time as well.
So, and as far as that goes, just one more question about the library resource that you use or whatever. Is there someone in the school that helps you locate new titles for use?
Yes. So the librarian that works at our school is a full-time position. She's here every day, and she has helped me to get books. I bring my lesson plan and I tell her what books I'm looking for, and then she helps me to locate those books. And so I definitely utilize that resource throughout the year.
Yeah.
Very often.
Great. And let's see, I'm going to just ask you a few more future questions about the future of your library, classroom library. What do you wish you could change or add to the physical space in your classroom library? Is there anything that you would change about it or add if you could?
I would like to have a listening station added to my library. I did have that and it got broken, so I currently don't have it, but in the future I would like to replace that and add that again, as well as I would like to add felt board stories, that they can kind of act out stories on the felt board in that area. I would like to add more multicultural books.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. If you
Yeah.
had some more,
Yeah.
if you had access to a lot of those, since we are ESL in this building, do you
Yeah.
feel like we have enough, or do you think that you'd
I
like
think
more
we're getting
access?
more every year. It takes time to build those libraries,
Yeah,
and United Way has helped us. They did donate books to my classroom
that's great.
in different languages and representing different cultures, and so I was really grateful
Yeah.
for that.
That's great. That answers my questions about what type of literature you would place on a wish list.
Yeah.
Is there any other types that you would place on a wish list for your classroom? Or is that pretty much what you're thinking that you're mostly in need of? is
That's
those
it.
titles?
And then just obviously I love books, so
Yeah.
I have a never-ending wish list.
Right, exactly.
I would like to see more board books that are durable, because they do the books do get read a lot, and so those tend to last a little bit longer. But I wouldn't say all board books, because I enjoy a lot more variety
Right.
than that as well. But I do have some kids that are developmentally still very, very young. And so those are appropriate for them. So I like to have a wide variety to meet my developmental levels.
Great. So I guess my last question would be, do you have any other thoughts that you'd like to share in relation to your physical classroom library?
Yeah, I have something else I'd like to share, that my kids respect the library and they like to take care of it. And so when it's time to clean up the classroom, they turn the books and make sure that they're facing the way that they can see the titles. They organize them nicely, and that's
great.
part of cleaning up the classroom and making it beautiful. That they like to take care of their library and make it look nice, and so they take pride in that, and I like to see that.
Yeah, that's great. Would you say that, I know this is something I've thought about in my own classroom, would you say that having access to a digital library might be helpful in this building?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
Something to work on for the future.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, that concludes my interview. Thank you very much, Miss Annika.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, bye.